Hi everybody, welcome back. In this video we're going to be talking about the general section. We're going to finish this section off. So we're just going to start with console. Console, if you click on it, it's going to show down here. Now the console, it'll just show any errors or any warnings that you might have in your project. You could always clear it, so if you have any errors or any warnings, you could clear it. Some of the errors won't just go away, so let me just save this and I'm going to have an error. So as you can see, I have this error. If I clear it, it won't go away because the game will not work if this error is here. So if I click on it, it will show me exactly where the error is, and I could just comment that out. So just double click on it and it'll send you straight to the error. Some of the errors, actually you can still play the game even if there's an error, but some will not allow you to play it at all. You could collapse. So let's say, let me do a quick grip and we're just debug something real quick, and it's gonna just say hi everyone. So this is the debug.log command is just pretty much so you can see all the warnings that I have right here. These are from the packages that I downloaded. The warnings, I've never had a warning that prevented me from actually creating my game or that didn't have my game working correctly or anything like that. So do not worry too much about the warnings. Now if I hit play, now I get this error, but now if I hit space, I get this message called that says hi everyone. If I keep on pressing it, you can see right here it just keeps increasing, but if I do not have collapse on, it will show me every single one, and if I just keep on doing it, it will just keep increasing the list. So there's also error pause when there's an error anywhere in the code. So as soon as the error happens, it will actually pause the game. There's editor. Now if you go to editor, you could search for any errors. You could check the player login. You could have a full log. You could also enter the player's IP, and then you could click troubleshoot connection and it'll send you to some of Unity's documentation. Now this right here, if you click on it, it will enable or disable the type of messages. This one right here, it's pretty much just debug messages. This one right here is error messages. This one right here is warnings. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this console. So we'll just move on and we'll go to the project. Now for the project window, this is where you'll have all your assets, all your stuff that you've made, everything that you've imported, everything that you're going to use for your project, even stuff that you won't use for your project, that will be all included here. And whenever you want to create something, you either would do it here in this create menu, or you would do it in the hierarchy in this menu right here. You could also add stuff right here as well, which is the same thing as right clicking and going to create. Same thing, same menu. There's also search, so you could search for anything you have and you could just see everything you have pretty much. You'll search it. You could also search by type. You could search by, a script, show you all the scripts, model, all that stuff. And if you don't want to search it by the type, you just hit X. You could also search something like, let's say, a stone, and then you could search in packages, in your assets, or just all in general, say R. So you could just search like that as well. There's also search by label. These are the labels. And there's, if you have a save search, so if you have a specific search like Atlas and then plus GY skin or whatever, and you could save it and it saves it right here, and you could name your saved search and then just hit X. And now when I go to search by label, actually I could just click new save search, material. And then after that, this is if you want to show the hidden packages, if you have any hidden packages that you want to make visible or non-visible. And then there's also this little button right here, which is called open and search. You could also push Control K and it will open this, and you can search all of Unity. So hierarchy of the project, pretty much everything. So if I click, say DS, it'll show settings, hierarchy, and depending on what it finds in what area of Unity, it will display it down here. You could also save search query as an assay. You could also open inspector. If you have it like that, it will show you the inspector right here of the asset that you have actually clicked. And you could also increase the icons right here. And after that, I think that's it for the project. We're gonna keep on moving on to the hierarchy. So for the hierarchy, this is where you will add your effects, your UI, your audio, video, game objects, all that stuff. You add it right here. You could also right click it and anywhere in this hierarchy window, and you can And you could also add it like that. You could search, so you could open this up. These are all the items I have in my scene right now. You could search for anything you want and it'll search it for you. You could also open this as well here. There's these three dots right here. You could save scene here, save scene as, select scene asset, add new scene, and you could pretty much do the same thing as right clicking. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the hierarchy. For the inspector, this is whenever you click on one of the objects in your hierarchy, it will show in your inspector all of the components that it has, or all of the scripts that it has. So this is transform script or component, a light script or component, and it has all these variables in them and that you were able to change and adjust as you please. And for the inspector, you could also add tags, so you could tag each object differently. You could also add layers, so you can have different layers for each game object. Could add an icon for certain game objects. So let's say I want to be able to see it and I want a red icon. Now you can see I have this red directional light icon. You could also have like little dots to represent whatever I want. And you can make it stuff static. So static just means that it will not move in the scene. So you could make it static if you want. So, and then when it bakes, it will adjust properly to what it's supposed to. And then you can also have this drop down menu, which also makes things static depending on what it is. So if you have just, let's say, one of them enabled, it will just show this minus sign, meaning that you want it just to be affected by batching static, or just affected by reflection probe static, or anything like that. That's pretty much it for the inspector window. Now we're going to go to the game. So this is just this game window right here. This game window has the game and simulator. Check out my video if you want to know more about the simulator and what all these do. But the game, you could have different displays. So if you have different cameras, you could actually change the display right here. So if I want to display target 2, go right here and it's at target 2. So you could do that. There's also right here where you can change your resolution and add VSync if you would like to see how that works. This is for the game view only, and you could add your own aspect ratios or fixed resolution, and you can name it whatever you want. You just hit OK and it'll add it for you. You could also change the scale of the game view, but it will not, this will just adjust the scale, so once you build it, it will not be affected. What it is based off is this camera field of view component, not the scale. There's also play and focus. So if you play and focus, you would, let's say you had something following your mouse, it will not follow your mouse because it's not actually in the game until you click it. So once you click the game, your mouse will pretty much be in the game. If you have it at play focus, it will be in the game as soon as you hit play. So as soon as you hit play, whatever object is following your mouse will start following it right away. There's also play maximize. Play maximize, just when you hit play, I'll show you real quick, it'll just maximize the whole game view, so it's all maximized. There's also if you want to mute the audio, so if you can't hear audio for some reason in your game but you have audio, click this. You might have clicked it on accident. There's also Unity shortcuts, so if you want it to be enabled or disabled. There's stats, so it'll show you your batches, it'll show you your FPS, it'll show how much batches were saved, how much try counts and vert counts, and all that stuff is being shown or is being rendered at that time. There's gizmos, so if you want to have gizmos enabled even in your scene view. So let's see if I have my point light. You can see I have my gizmo right here. But like I said, if you actually build the game, the gizmo will not show regardless. And then it has a drop down where you could adjust the icons of the gizmo. You can have the gizmos fade a bit, so transparent, and you could enable or disable any gadget you want. And last but not least, we're gonna go to the scene view, and this scene view, it will show this toolbar right here, which will allow you to change between your different tools. You could also push W, E, R, or T on your keyboard and it will do the same thing. There's also this new transform tool, which allows you pretty much do everything all at once. So you can move it, you can rotate it, you can scale, all with one tool. There's right here where you could center or pivot your tool, so it could be either centered or pivoted. There's also where it could be global or local. So if it's local, and let's say I rotate this guy, it's going to be locally wherever my character is rotated, it will rotate with it, the gizmo. If I hit it global, it will just be at the global settings at all times. Since the globe can't rotate or this world can't rotate, it will be at the same exact position. You could enable the grid, this grid right here. I don't know if you guys could see it, but it's just like this little white grid. And you could, so yeah, let me add opacity. And maybe now you guys could see the grid enabled and disabled. There's also, you could change it to the X grid or a Z grid, depending on how you would need it, I guess, for your game. And then what else is there? There's also, you can move it to handle or to the origin, whatever you want. There's these 3 dots where you could just reset everything. There's this one right here where it toggles grid snapping on and off. It says when you have set tool handle rotation to global. So now you could actually toggle snapping on and off. You can see my player looks like he's snapping. So looks like he's snapping on and off, and you could adjust it. Now he's having more of a snap. Say I have it to 5. Now he's, yeah, snaps real good. And then you can have this on and off, and you could either have it in all axis, just the X, just the Y, or just the Z. So whatever you want. But for this to work, you would have to have this set to global and not to local. That's the only way that would work. And then there's also incremental snapping. So this is pretty much basically the same thing. So if I have it at 5, if I hit control on my keyboard and I start moving it, it will do the incremental snapping. So I could adjust that here, as you can see. And then there's also, you could also change for the rotation and scale, but make sure that you hit control on your keyboard while doing it. If not, it will not work. There's also the different shading modes. So you could have wireframe, shaded frame. You could have show the shadows, the rendering paths, alpha channels, everything you could possibly think of, shadow mask. And then you could set this to 2D view or 3D view. You could toggle the lights on and off, and this will just be affected in your scene view and that in the actual game view. You could also enable audio or disable it. You could toggle skyboxes on and off. So if you wanted to be on the skybox, if you want it to be off. You could hide objects. So if you have hidden objects, I guess I'm not sure what this one is. It says number of hidden objects, click to toggle scene visibility. So if anybody knows what this is, leave a comment down below. It'll help me and everybody else out, because yeah, I'm not sure what that is. There's also this camera, dynamic clipping. If you see right here, I'm actually like clipping into the character. If I have this checked off, it'll try its best not to do dynamic clipping. I could also adjust it right here, the plane views. I could click it just so you guys can see the difference. There's occlusion calling, so if I want to have occlusion calling set, and this is just for the scene view. This is the field of distance that I want in the scene view. There's camera easing if I want camera easing, if I want the acceleration to be on, if I want acceleration to be on or off. And then there's camera speed, so if I want this to actually go faster, or if I wanted to go much slower, this is how I would do that. You could also do that by pushing the right button on your mouse and scrolling up or down, and you could adjust it. As you can see right now, I could barely move my camera, and if I adjust it, I go faster and faster. And like I said, it's just, you just right click and scroll up and down with your mouse. And then what else is there? And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And then there's these icons as well, the gizmos, and it's pretty much the same thing as the game one. You could disable and enable any gizmo you want. You can have terrain debug warnings. You can have the selection wire, so anything you select has a wire over it. You could fade gizmos. You want the gizmos faded or not. And you could also adjust the 3D icons. So that's it for this video. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you want to continue to see more videos like this. And once again, thank you guys.